I don't know why you are so greedy for it in this one.
So welcome on all to an all-new video. In this video we're going to do a movie review of a new film that just came out end of December and is a sequel 20 years in the making. So we're going to get right into that. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms such as X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, if I haven't already said that. And also, Patreon. Definitely great stuff on there, people. Pretty much post on a regular basis, so definitely check that out. So as people, let's get right into this. So welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out at the end of December, and is a sequel 20 years in the making called Gladiator 2. Yeah, Gladiator 2, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, shortly after the original Gladiator came out, they were like, is there going to be a Gladiator 2? And a lot of people were up for it, a lot of people weren't sure, and then time went on, and then people were kind of probably like, when they announced that they were making Gladiator 2, finally they're probably like, majority of them were like, why? Like, I mean, it's been so long, we're not getting Russell Crowe back because Russell Crowe really was the first Gladiator and stuff like that. And I remember thinking to myself going, I could see another film like that. I think it'd be fun, even if it doesn't have Russell Crowe in it. I could see some great Gladiator action. I think that'd be awesome. And, this film is just one of those types of films that, if you're looking for exactly what the first one did, you're not going to get what you want. But at the same time, if you're looking for something that's an addition to that story that is super entertaining and fun, that's what Gladiator 2 provides. And I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really fun. Even though we didn't have actual, Russell Crowe now, we still had a lot of great images from the first film of him, and him talked throughout, throughout the whole entire film. And I thought it did a great job of giving this great homage to the first film, and I really enjoyed that. Even though that this story is kind of pretty much exactly similar to what the first film was, they did change some things and give us a little different take and all kinds of stuff like that, and I thought that was really cool, and I liked that the outcome of the film was different than the original two as well. And I think that, this film just is one of those, sequels that, a lot of people were, like, and then a lot of people were like, woohoo! And I feel like I was kind of like one of those persons I was in the middle about it going, I can either hate it or I can love it, kind of deal. And I absolutely enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was a really great film that gave me everything I was looking for in a Gladiator film. Great action, great soundtrack, great visuals. And overall, was there a lot of jump the shark type of moments in this? Yeah, there was quite a few, but I still think they did a good job with them, and I think that it made it very entertaining and even more enjoyable, for what it was. And I enjoyed that it gave us something different than what the first film gave us. Now, this film, of course, has been directed none other by a gentleman that goes by the name of Mr. Ridley Scott. Oh yeah, Ridley Scott. Woo, Ridley Scott. Yeah, Ridley Scott. So Ridley Scott is an amazing director, from doing Alien to, Prometheus to even Alien Covenant to many other things he's directed, Blade Runner, so forth and stuff like that. He's just a really great, prolific director who has made a lot of great films that have become cult classics, have become super huge hits, and of course he, created the first film, Gladiator 1. And he just is one of those directors that I absolutely love what he does with films, because he always makes them entertaining, and he always takes them to a great new level. And I enjoyed that. One thing, about that he did with Gladiator 2 is the fact that he altered things and made them a little different than the previous film. And I did enjoy that he, kept, pretty much the same kind of principle along that made the first film so entertaining, but he evolved on what he decided to do with the battles and stuff like that, which I thought was really great and really, creative. And I'm glad that he made this sequel, because I think it was just a really great kind of type of film to have last year that just really put a great end note on the, on 2024. And I just really thought that he did a great job giving us lots of great action again, giving us a lot of great story, giving us kind of a similar story, but at the same time adding more extension to that story we already know. And bringing back a few of the people that were in the first film was great too as well. And I just really thought he did a really good job with it. I thought he, on point once again, had the great visuals. He adapted even better with his CGI work and the graphics for this one versus the first film. You can see a huge difference in the last 24 years. And, you really got to see a very interesting kind of new take on the film as well that, put some extra things into it that we did not see in the first film. And I just thought he did a really good job of giving us all that in a very entertaining, great film. Now, if you haven't seen anything else Ridley Scott has directed, definitely a great film to check out of his that I think is a really solid film, and I wish it would get more recognition. It's a great film that Matt Damon was in back in 2015 called The Martian. Yeah, The Martian. Yeah, this is a really great film. It was really awesome, a really great take on somebody living on Mars, and just overall a very interesting idea. And I loved what really Scott did with it. He gave us this very entertaining film that, even though it had a lot of great kind of like dialogue throughout it had a lot of that, but it didn't feel like filler. It didn't feel too much, and it felt like it actually flowed very well, along with some great like action sequences and great story, and it just, a great space kind of opera. And I just really enjoyed what he did with it and gave us this really interesting take on, if somebody was living on Mars and had, basically was almost trying to colonize it. And I really enjoyed that, and kind of, it was almost like a Apollo 13 feel, and really did a great job of kind of, making sure they were differentiated, but at the same time give us that same great feeling that made those films so enjoyable. If you haven't seen anything Ridley Scott has directed, definitely check out The Martian. He did a really fantastic job with it. But overall, I really enjoyed what he did with Gladiator 2, what he gave us. I thought he got a great cast together, and I think he really brought just a really fun, entertaining sequel that, didn't put any shame on the first film, and also it didn't oversee the first film, but at the same time, it was an entertaining sequel that's a great addition to that already fantastic story. If you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend checking it out in theaters if you still have it in theaters, but definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. So this movie has a really great cast. We have quite a few new people entering the film and a few returning from the original film. Of course, Connie Nielsen returned as her character, and one of the people of Parliament returned for the film. But majority of the rest of the people are new and weren't a part of the original film, but all of them really provided great performances that made the film very entertaining, very enjoyable, and all did, I thought, a decent job that really made the film a great triumph and just a really great film. Now, to start us off is none other than one of the kind of main characters in the film, Mr. Pedro Pascal. Oh yeah, Pedro Pascal, woo, Pedro Pascal, yeah! So Pedro Pascal plays Connie Nielsen's husband at this time in her life, and also plays one of the guards of the Roman Empire. And it just plays a really great character. I really enjoyed his characterization. I thought it was really well constructed, really well put out. I thought he did a good job of bringing his character to life. And I enjoyed the evolution of the character throughout the film, because kind of at first you're thinking he's like a dick, an asshole type of character, or that he is a bad guy, really. But then as the movie evolves, you see that he really has none of those intentions, and that, he's kind of doing what he's doing because he's following orders, but at the same time, he has the power to change his logic and change his way, and you see that evolution throughout the film. And I thought that was a really great story arc that Pedro did a great job of evolving through with, giving us a really great performance. And I just really enjoyed him. I enjoyed his character. I felt bad for him at the end, and at the same time, I thought he just did a really fantastic job of bringing that character to life. Now, if you haven't seen anything with Pedro Pascal before, definitely a great movie to check him out in, and I think is a really great film that I don't think gets enough talk about, doesn't get enough recognition for being such a great action kind of, almost foreign film, I feel, that has a lot of great, kind of foreign feel like type of film, like if you were to see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or anything like that. It kind of had that feel for me. And this movie, I just think, is really fun, and he was great in it. And that, of course, is the film called The Great Wall. Yeah! The Great Wall. Yeah! The Great Wall. Woohoo! So The Great Wall is kind of an action epic film that basically is about defending this giant wall over in Asia and them trying to keep these monsters out. And Pedro Pascal and Matt Damon are in it and play these characters that end up getting involved in it, unfortunately, because they get kind of taken prisoner. And, you know, it's just one of those films that was just so well done, so action-packed and awesome. And Pedro was just so cool, and I loved him, and Matt Damon's kind of dynamic. They worked really well together. I liked how he, you know, portrayed his character and how he kind of becomes kind of a thorn in Matt Damon's side a little bit and kind of, you know, betrays him almost. But at the same time, he does it in a great way and just plays it to the T. He gives us a really solid performance that I think is really noteworthy and just really well executed by Pedro. And I just really enjoyed what he brought to that role and how he really evolved it throughout the film. If you haven't seen Pedro Pascal or anything, definitely check him out in The Great Wall. He is really phenomenal in that. But overall, I thought he was a great addition to the franchise, The Gladiator. He was so fun and so awesome. And I just really enjoyed his character in this. And I thought that he brought a really fun performance to this character. If you haven't seen Pedro Pascal recently, go check him out in Gladiator 2. He was great. The next actor I'd like to talk about was another great addition to this film that is kind of part of the bad guy kind of ensemble in this film and just played the character really well, and I thought really brought to life, you know, what a Roman kind of governor, Roman, type of leader would act. And I think that he really brought that to life with his character in this film. And that, of course, is Mr. Joseph Quinn! Oh yeah, Joseph Quinn! Woo! Joseph Quinn! Yeah! So Joseph Quinn you might recognize, of course, from his recent portrayal in A Quiet Place Day 1. You might recognize him, of course, from the upcoming Fantastic Four film, playing the Human Torch. And Joseph Quinn is just a really fantastic actor. He's another one of those guys that I have watched grow and just become such a freaking fantastic actor. From the first time I saw him in something, I knew he had star quality, and he was just so fantastic. And, you know, watching him go through all these different films over the last couple of years and just really become a star has been so enjoyable because he's just so amazing. He's very much, I feel, like a Timothée Chalamet quality, or, you know, even, you know, a great kind of dramatic actor that really can prove that he's fun in all different facets of types of genres of film. He even has a comedic feel to him and stuff like that, and, you know, he really brings that to life in Gladiator 2. And I really enjoyed his performance in the film because he really, I thought, represented what a person, you know, would be like if they were a, you know, Roman emperor. And I really enjoyed kind of his look and his gestures and his performance as a character because he really kind of portrayed really well what I felt would be like that. And at the same time, I enjoyed kind of the emotion he brought to the character and how he brought some really interesting takes to the character that I think evolved the character throughout the film as well. And I enjoyed how he seemed to be kind of like the leader or the one in charge, but really he was actually supposed to be the younger brother of the other twin that was supposed to be a Roman emperor too as well. And kind of like he's supposed to be the more level-headed one. And I enjoyed what Joseph did with that and how he played that out really well and kind of kept it, you know, kind of in a serious tone that was really well played by him in the film. Now, if you haven't seen anything Joseph Quinn has been in, one of the best things I've ever seen him in was the great series that's on Netflix that unfortunately comes to an end this year. That is just has been a phenomenal series from Netflix, and he played such a great character in his season. And that, of course, is the show called Stranger Things. Yeah! Stranger Things, yeah! His character of Eddie in that in the last season was absolutely phenomenal. You absolutely fell in love with his character, you hated his demise, and you absolutely were rooting for him throughout the whole entire series. And he just was so amazing as a character, and you absolutely just fell in love with the characterization, and Joseph just brought it really to life, giving this really fantastic performance that I think is Emmy worthy. And I think that he really channeled who this character was supposed to be. He felt actually like that character, and you were sympathizing for him, and you were thinking that he really was Eddie in that show. And he just did such a great job of making that so believable and so, amazingly fun. And at the same time, he just was so entertaining in it. If you haven't seen Joseph Quinn anything, definitely check him out in Stranger Things Season 4. He was absolutely freaking fantastic. But overall, he was fantastic in Gladiator 2 as well. I really enjoyed him as part of the twins, the Roman emperors that are ruling Rome at the time. And I really enjoyed just everything he brought to the character. And I just think he was a really great addition to that cast. If you haven't seen him recently or anything, go check him out in Gladiator 2. He was actually really great. So that brings me to the final actor I'd like to talk about that was in this film. And that is none other than probably pretty much the really main villain of the film, Mr. Denzel Washington! Oh yeah, Denzel Washington! Woo! Denzel Washington! Denzel Washington's so awesome. Such a great actor, from his performance in Philadelphia to his performance in A Devil with a Blue Dress, or his performance in Fallen, The Bone Collector, Glory. Everything he's been in, he's always been absolutely fantastic, and he's just a great actor, and he was such a great addition to add to this great franchise. And his performance as the main bad guy was very well done. He was epic, he was on point, he really brought that character to life and how evil and deceitful he is, and Denzel played it to the T and was so great at it. And, like we've said before, his performance in Training Day really showed he could play really good villains. And I think he really brought a lot of how he played in Training Day to his character in Gladiator 2. And for many parts, you're like, oh, he's such a nice guy, but then you actually see the deceitful shit he's really doing, and you're like, wow, he's really freaking evil. And it's just so interesting how they really bring to life this character, kind of a depiction of these different type of people that were from Rome at that time and era. And Denzel just really brought the character to life and given us this really solid bad guy performance that was just really fantastic and really well put, for this film. And he just was such a great addition to this film. Now, if you haven't seen anything else, Denzel Washington's been in, definitely a great film to check him out in. It's a great film that came out a few years ago with Eva Mendes called Out of Time. Yeah! Out of Time. Yeah! Out of Time. Absolutely fantastic film. Has Santa Lathan in it, the great Dean Cain, and it's just one of those great films that I absolutely loved what Denzel brought to that film. The character and everything, and how he was having basically an affair with this girl, and basically he ends up getting stuck in this whole murder coop, and he has to basically prove that he's innocent, and at the same time get the money back that he gives her, and all this kind of stuff. And he just was so freaking awesome as a character. He has some great lines. He really delivers them well. He looks awesome in the film, and he just was so amazing in that film. I loved his chemistry between him and Santa Lathan, between him and Dean Cain, his best friend there, that's a mortician, also between him and Eva Mendes as well. They all played and meshed so well together, and Denzel just made it look so effervescent. He was just so amazing at what he does, and he brought it in Out of Time. If you haven't seen his performance at Out of Time, definitely check it out. Worth a watch. Such a great film and just a great performance by Denzel. But like I said, I really enjoyed his addition to the film. I thought he was a really great bad guy, and he did such a great job of bringing that character to life, and just really was a great addition to that film. If you haven't seen Denzel in anything recently, go check him out in Gladiator 2. He was really fantastic. So what is Gladiator 2 about? Basically, the premise of this film's story is now we have an adult Lucius who ends up, unfortunately, getting imprisoned and becoming a part of exactly the same gladiatorial games as his father did in the first film, and he basically has to fight his way to freedom. And basically, it's kind of about him reuniting with his mom and kind of coming to terms with, his life and what it's become because of all the evil that has happened in the last 30 years. It's a really well done film, really well executed. I loved what Ridley Scott did with it. I thought it was a really great addition to the Gladiator franchise. It was definitely, I think, worth the wait for it, even though we didn't get more Russell Crowe or more, now Russell Crowe. And, even though we still did get, footage from the original film in it, I still think that they did a good job of extending that story and giving us a really solid story with, a great performance, by the new lead newcomer, Mr. Maskell, who did a decent job as adult Lucius. And overall, I just think it was a really well executed sequel that was really entertaining. If you haven't seen Gladiator 2 yet, definitely go check it out in theaters now. Definitely worth a watch. I give it 8 golden movie boxes up. I thought it was really entertaining. And overall, I think it's a great film and definitely something I'll be adding to my collection. Worth a watch, people. Go check it out in theaters now. Amazing. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for subscribing. If this is your first time here, or you have been before, don't forget to check out any other new videos you might not see mine yet. As always, people, if you enjoy my channel and want to show support for it, please check out my awesome Patreon page, where once you become a member with a small donation, you get extra things that you don't get here on my YouTube channel, such as outtakes, bloopers, polls, all kinds of stuff where you can ask me to review a film you want to see me review a film, and all that kind of cool stuff. So definitely check that out. As always, catch you next one.